It is here. Okay, so believe that this is set up properly. I just want to make sure. In 1 second. I am kind of wish I could. Alright, well, that's fine. Trying to resize this, but it's not working. Hold on. It's fine. I just had a ad break like 15 minutes ago, so I'm gonna need to like be aware of an ad coming up. If you this stream is going to be focusing on analyzing the demons of hell within my novel recently published book Dim Shadow of Spade. Demons in my story are oftentimes the antagonistic force that the protagonists have to face against. They are often they have like different varieties, they have different species. I do want to first emphasize the difference between demons and redeemos within my story. Demons are creatures that are born and created in hell, while redeemos are humans that were died and was sent to hell to be punished. Redeemos are, by the very definition, still human, but they are just corrupted by the power of darkness. While demons are characters that are just were born and are essentially entities of darkness. Whenever I depict a demon, I always I like to show them as being monstrous first, and then before just kind of revealing them, showing like their more human side. An example is the character Zara. When you first meet her, trying to find her. When you first meet her, she is just kind of like a horrible woman. Like she captured and tortured Alglo, trying to make her submit to her control, and she was just clearly just not really that afraid of kind of being like heartless or monstrous. But it was really only after her appearance in part 2 where she started to become, I started to kind of show more human side. And Zara, in essence, she's a succubus, and succubus is a form of succubus is a form of a species of demons called neo-hominidae. Hominidae. It's based off the root word hominid, which is what humans, Homo sapiens, monkeys, those are all hominids. Essentially bipedal, 2 arms, those are all hominids. And humans is just a branch of species based off of the hominid. I think it's familia. There is a certain phrase within in science that just kind of shows that the whole origin of the native I can't remember what it's called, but my teacher kind of taught me like in high school, and I still kind of remember it. But basically, every species on Earth can be traced back to say the root phrase. Like if you go into the scientific name, and for example, our species, our scientific name is Homo sapiens, but it's actually much longer if you go back to the beginning. Basically, the types of names attributed to the scientific name is domain, kingdom, phylum, phylum, order, family, genus, species. So the way to remember that is something that my old science teacher taught, which is dumb kids playing on freeways get squashed. Believe it or not, that is what my teacher taught me in high school on how to remember that, and I still remember the order of the thing today. So I believe that hominid is the domain, kingdom, phylum, order, I think a hominid is the family of the root of those terms. So by that logic, using that logic as example, if hominid is sort of like the family of sorts, um, uh, succubus is sort of like more so the genus or the species that Zara is kind of based off. That's just a way to kind of think of. But what neo-hominidae are demons that are capable of living and blending in amongst humans on Earth. They look human, but they're actually a demon. So Zara is one such example, and there's also like different variations in neo-hominidae. There's people that are kind of purebred neo-hominidae who are just essentially a human demon. But they're kind of different than a human in the sense that they can live a lot longer. But there's also like branch species of them, and like succubus, and there's also pretty much like every single demon things that have like a humanoid appearance. They can fall under the branch of neo-hominidae. Again, like using an example, in book 2, there is a character that you will meet named Bree, who is a skinwalker, a creature from Navajo belief. And skinwalkers are a form of neo-hominidae, and they're actually capable of transforming into animals. So going back to Zara, when I first depicted her, I depicted her as a monster, but it's only after I introduced her in part 2 and part 3, where I kind of show her more human side, and that's kind of like what I like to do with demons. I show them being monstrous at the beginning to kind of like put them in a more antagonistic role, and then I later just kind of cause scenes for people to really understand how these characters operate and actually be able to question for themselves whether or not these characters are truly evil. Zara has done bad things, sure, but I do not consider herself, from a writer's standpoint, to be solely evil. She is deeply flawed, but she is not really evil. She has no problem doing bad things, but she's also not necessarily an entirely evil person. She doesn't do evil things at all times. She does kind of have a more human or emotional side, and that's kind of what I like to do with demons. I think that it's kind of like too easy for I think it's kind of like too easy. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this stream up just in case. It's kind of too easy for me to kind of write demons as solely an antagonistic role, where I just show them being evil and evil and evil and evil like throughout the entire series, because I think that would just be kind of a too easy thing to do. Many different series just kind of go that route. I do want to emphasize that that's not exactly what I want to do for this series. I think it's my main goal with the series, as I mentioned in last week's video, is to kind of make people question whether or not this individual character on this side is solely good or solely evil, or whether or not this character on this side is solely good or solely evil. I want people to have that dichotomy where they look at individual characters from individual lenses and be able to question whether or not they are a good bad person. They look at their motivations, they look at their character, they look at their actions, and they just wonder, okay, is this person actually a good guy, or is this person a bad guy? I want to create that level of discourse. That is why I'm writing demons in this way. Like, I could very easily just kind of make demons just totally like enforced for evil, like say Supernatural does, but that's not what I wanted to do for the story. Well, with that main goal on whole demons thing, I thought it'd be kind of good to kind of talk about what the different species of demons that are seen in this story. So we talked about the Neo Hominidae, and that name wasn't dropped until book 2, but that you do see Neo Hominidae in this story. Uh, actually, no, you don't. You see mostly Redeem most of the story. Actually, you see Zara, who's a Neo Hominidae, but she's also a succubus. But you don't see any pure blood Neo Hominidae in this story. Now thinking about it, yes, you do. You actually see Snake. Snake is a pure blood Neo Hominidae, and I can't actually pull it up. There it is. So Snake is a character you meet like early on in part 1. He is the information broker for this story. It wasn't officially name dropped that he is a Neo Hominidae, but he is in fact a pure blood Neo Hominidae in the story. Neo Hominidae as a species isn't actually name dropped until book 2. But if you see like a human looking demon, they are likely in fact a Neo Hominidae unless specified otherwise. So Neo Hominidae is one of the main species. You also see a branch species being succubus. I want to talk next about the other main thing, which is old gods. Old gods is a that's not the right one. Old gods is mentioned at the end of part 3 of this book. This is in part 2. They're first mentioned in part 2 of this book. What old gods are essentially more or less an extinct species. They were the first species of demons to be created within hell. And they eventually kind of saw themselves to be stronger and better than Samael, and they tried to rebel against them. But unfortunately, they kind of ended up like fighting amongst themselves and kind of going into a civil war. Actually, that came later. Basically, it was a head of the old gods that was kind of in charge. I'm trying to like avoid like going into spoilers. Because this head of the old gods will be the main antagonist of the 4th trilogy, and that's all I will say about them. But something happened to them that took them out of the picture, and then a civil war broke out that essentially wiped out most of the species. And except for like a few standing members, one of them is the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse: death, war, pestilence, and famine. Those 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and one additional character who you see mentioned in this book called the Beast, is are all entity is known as old gods. They are essentially demons that are wrong thing. They are essentially demons that are that have like a unique supernatural power for them. Like for example, is when you see War in the story, he is a character that kind of inspires conflict within others. When he is around someone. When he is around, okay, this is not what I want. Horseman. When he is in someone's presence, they get violent urges and they get inspired to fight. And he kind of attributes his presence to being the one that kind of inspires a concept of war. He believes that whenever war breaks out, it is done in his name. And for all intents and purposes, he could very well be right. The reason why we have wars and conflict on Earth could very well be because of the existence of war. War's existence could very well be the reason why wars break out in our world. It's just like it's like sort of like a thing that just kind of exists. People get aggressive, people get angry, people get vengeful, and that leads to conflict. It's very possible that that conflict was partially due to war's influence. War, war supernatural power is essentially to inspire conflict, but in this story, he is also he's someone that is obsessed with fighting. Uh, you see him like throughout the story. He just kind of ad break is starting in 5 minutes. You see him throughout the story, and he often fantasizes about upcoming battles, but he doesn't like do it unrealistically. Like he doesn't imagine he doesn't imagine scenarios where he just kind of went into sort of like realistic means. His fantasies are all based on reality. He takes what he knows about his opponents and just kind of creates likely scenarios for how the fight could go realistically and how he could counter them in reality. And he applies that knowledge, that beliefs in his battles in the real world. He is someone that is addicted to fighting, if that makes sense. But the horsemen in this story, most of which you won't see in the story until, well, you see two of them in book two, but you won't see the horseman death until the second trilogy. I have no plans of introducing death in the second trilogy until the second trilogy, but I believe I have mentioned death at the very least in book two. Every single horseman in the story has a unique sort of like supernatural power that reflects to their title. So if war inspires conflict, you can expect like death, famine, and pestilence to have powers that kind of reflect those titles. Every single old god that will be present in this story has a supernatural power, and that just kind of makes them more dangerous. This power, I should mention, is very separate from the power of darkness within this story. It's just something extra they can do. They can still use darkness to use in different ways, but there's also something I want to emphasize about darkness that has been mentioned, has been explained in book two, but hasn't been explained in this book. The dark, and I'm just gonna go in and add spoilers here. The powers of darkness that old gods can use are very different than the powers of darkness that demons and redeemos could use. It's like a different level of darkness, a more powerful version of darkness. The other thing is, the other main species you see in the story is a concept beast, which is a species of demon that have like animal-like qualities. You see, like you could have like a person that looks like he's part wolf, part man, part lizard, part man. There's always like some type of animal combined with kind of fused together with the body of a man. That's essentially what a beast human is. It has like a unique species of demon that is separate from Neo Hominidae. The other main thing is a specter class of demon, demons that are essentially like ghosts. You see one of them being made in part one. Rays are a unique species. They are created when a human spirit is completely corrupted by the power of darkness, and they essentially turn into a demonic entity. They are kind of like a rare example. I have an ad break coming up. I'm just going to snooze this. They are a rare example. I snooze it because we're almost done here. They're a rare example of a human entity turning into a demon. There's something that is unique only to human spirits, where if they're left alone and they let their mind decay to the power of darkness for too long, they will turn into race a demonic entity. They can still be purified and revert back to a human spirit with the Hide Agent's help, but they are in essence a demonic entity. There are other specter classes within the story. In book 2, you actually meet not the poltergeist. You meet a doppelganger who is like a spirit entity from German beliefs. But as of right now in this book, the only specter entity you see is a wraith, who is still kind of human, but they are more demonic in nature. The other thing is, I think the only other thing, actually, that might be all the demonic entities that we have seen in the story. In relation to everything else, I will be adding more demonic entities throughout the rest of the story. You actually meet like a new, more ancient demonic entity in book 2, but I'm not going to discuss that yet. I will likely be making a part 2 to this video after the sequel to this book is published, because there are some new demonic entities I could elaborate, and there's also some new aspects of demons that I could elaborate in that book. Unfortunately, this book is primarily kind of focused on the human side of the demons, and also kind of more focused on how the Hide Agency works. In book 2, it kind of focuses more on what hell is like, and what more so about the culture of demons are like. So I will not be making a video describing what hell is like in the story, because simply because of the fact we do not see hell in the story. I will be making a video analyzing hell when book 2 is finished and published, but I will not be making a video analyzing hell during this series. Hell will remain a mystery for now, and you are welcome to interpret hell and how little it is described in this book however you wish, but I will not be making a video analyzing hell at this point. Next week's stream, I will be doing a character analysis of the demon Spade, the main antagonist of this story. If I haven't done it already, I haven't. YouTube. Which account? YouTube Studio. Let's see. Ad agency was gone. Low. I have not done an analysis on Spade, so that is what we will be covering next time. That is actually going to be do it for today. Next Wednesday, I'm going to be analyzing the character of Spade, doing a character analysis of the character of Spade, and so expect that from 1 p.m. to an undetermined amount of time. I think that actually does it for the analysis of demons. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to be hosting a writer's workshop stream where from 1 p.m. to 5, I'm going to be working on my next book on Tuesdays and Thursdays. On Fridays, I'm going to be doing a 100% playthrough of Far Cry 4 from 1 p.m. to 5. On Saturdays, I'm going to be hosting a 100% playthrough of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories from 1 p.m. to 5. And on Sunday, I'm going to be hosting a 100% playthrough of Borderlands 3 from 1 p.m. to 5 Pacific Standard Time. That's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all next time.